Hello everyone, Shroomraver here, and today I'm excited to bring to you the final game, Week 11 from Season 4, Division 2 of the Pokemon Premier League. Yes indeed. Now, this was a match that since the beginning of the season I was looking forward to. This week, the final week, we are playing against my man Erik, Ashton Akai, and AS Rowlet. So this was just a match that I was so looking forward to for a number of reasons. There was a number of circumstances that made it so sort of exciting. Erik is a very good friend of mine. He is basically my training buddy. We very often build sort of practice teams for each other to go against most weeks. And yeah, it's fantastic to actually finally play against him. Like, I've never actually played against him in league format other than in like the monotype tournament, which I suppose doesn't really count. Kyle, make a team. Yeah, so it's really exciting to actually finally play against him. And here's the thing, we had agreed that really if there was nothing on the line, we could really have some fun with this. And for Erik, you know, there wasn't, I don't think there was much on. Like, I think he could get himself into third to go for that that promotion spot, but it wasn't something that I think he was too bothered by. Me myself, I'm well out of it, well out of it, so it doesn't matter to me at all. So we kind of agreed that we're gonna have a bit of fun with this, and you know, bring what many will class as the meme sets. You know, it's week 11, we want to have a bit of fun between ourselves because, you know, it's exciting to play against Erik. It's something I've never actually had a chance to do before. Now, I'm aware this video is going up a bit later than people would like. It's also quite late in the day. I am knackered, so we're not actually going to have a team build. I'm just going to go over the team I decided to bring. I should probably, though, before I do that, really professionally, take a look and see exactly the squad that Erik could choose from. So, the things he could be bringing, Mew, Zygarde 10%, Thundurus Incarnate, Mega Gyarados, Infinite, Kamala, Ferrothorn, and Gramble. His two Z-move users being Infinite and Zygarde 10%, and his Super Z-move user being Mew, of course, why wouldn't it be? Team I decided to bring to this one. So, first up, Zapdos. We have got a fully physically offensive Zapdos, Wild Charge, Steel Wing, U-Turn and Drill Peck with the Steelium Z, in case of that Gramble, Max Attack, Max Speed, Jolly. Next up, we have Sadie the Mawile, pretty much my MVP for the season at this point. This is a special Life Orb Sheer Force set, max HP, max special attack, modest. I'd say with that Life Orb, Flash Cannon, Dark Pulse, Ice Beam, and Fire Blast. Then we have pretty much the only sort of regular kind of set, I think we might say. It's Zangoose. Goose Bolt and the Zangoose with the Toxic Orb, of course. Facade, Quick Attack, Fire Punch, and Focus Punch is on there as well. Because I could see Ferrothorn being a switch in if he doesn't want to use or bring the Gramble. We've got 52 HP, max attack, 204 speed, Jolly. Then we have Blue Mountain the Mandibuzz. I'm on. I haven't brought all that much really, and maybe it's cost me. But we've got the classic meme set. This is Weak Armor, Nasty Plot, Mandibuzz with a Pataya Berry, just for even more special attack there. The attacks we've got Dark Pulse, Heat Wave, and Air Slash. We're max special attack, max speed, timid. Then we have Web and Flow, the Araquanid. This is a nasty, evil set with the leftovers. It's Infestation, Soak, Toxic, and Sub. 236 HP, 228 defense with that Bold Nature, 44 into speed, just so I can creep that Ferrothorn. This would be nice to trap in. The Ferrothorn can pretty much live any hit. It's unlikely he'll be able to break the sub. I can get a sub up before like he goes for Leech Seed or Hazard or anything, and then we're sort of good to go there. Finally, we have Spoogles. Tangler finally makes her way to a game. And are we going a Violite, physically or specially defensive? No, we're not. We're going Choice Specs. With Regenerator, of course, Leaf Storm, Hidden Power Fire, Sludge Bomb, and Giga Drain. 244 HP, max special attack, modest with 12 thrown into speed. Now, the team that Erik can choose from, he's only got 8 mons. And, you know, to be honest, the only one that I really didn't expect to see was the Kamala. I didn't see him bringing Kamala at all. As to others, you know, seeing that this was going to be a bit of a special game, I could see him maybe not bringing the Ferrothorn. I figured he'd want to bring the Granbull. So, you know, I was thinking maybe no Kamala, no Ferrothorn, but I have coverage for them anyway, just in case. So I was thinking probably Mew, Zygarde, Thundurus, Mega Gyarados, Infinite, and Granbull, and then he'd just go full crazy offense, maybe with a few strange defensive ones thrown in there. I've seen weirder, you know, defensive Infinite, why the hell not? But as you can see from the team that he decided to bring on your screen right now, we have got the Ferrothorn, the Thundurus, Mew, Granbull, Mega Gyarados, and that Infinite. So yeah, a lot of what I was expecting to see. It's, you know, obviously I'm going to expect to see most of it. He's only got 8 Mons on his squad. But it's very exciting stuff. I was looking forward to it. I'm going to leave him my Zapdos. It's got a pretty useful matchup against everything he's got. His ground type is not there. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right into this battle and see exactly how things played out. Okay, here we go. Pokemon trainer Erik, he's going to issue that challenge with his cool shades. As you know, I'm going to be leading with my Zapdos, of course, why wouldn't I? And yeah, Eric's going to lead with Nigel, that's the Ferrothorn. Now, he doesn't know what set I am, and he's expecting strange stuff, so he doesn't know if I've got the Heat Wave. He's just going to get on out of there and go into his Mew, which is very nice because I decided to click U-turn, so I'm like, I'm going to get big damage off on this, and it does nothing at all. And I'm like, that's a fully physically defensive Mew, I thought you were bringing memes. So I was like, okay, he's physically defensive, let's go to Blue Mountain. We can really do some damage to him here. Especially if we can get up a Nasty Plot. But I just want to gauge the damage first by going for Dark Pulse, and that's what I do. I do outspeed him, so he knows something's up. I go for the Dark Pulse, and this does, you know, a good chunk. As he's actually just going to get up his Stealth Rocks here. Now, I'm figuring that he can't really touch me. I'm figuring he might be a regular set with, like, Will-O-Wisp. Just to be properly physically defensive. And with the leftovers, it's dubious as to whether another Dark Pulse actually will take him out. So he's going to withdraw and go into Winston. That's going to be the Granbull. And at this point, he gets his Intimidate off, which of course doesn't matter. I'm especially offensive as I go for Nasty Plots. And I'm like, okay, now we can start doing some real damage to this guy. Going to be going for Air Slashes, it's my best move to hit him, and I should be doing a good amount. So here we go, going to go for the Air Slash, and as you'll see, it's not a 2-hit KO. I'm like, oh, you play rough, is that what, are you AV? He doesn't kill me. It turns out he's actually just quite specially bulky. I get my weak armor. I'm actually just out of range of getting like a Tire Berry, which is really unfortunate. He's going to get his leftovers, as you can see. He's not Assault Vest, he's just quite specially defensive. But at this point, he is actually going to switch on out of there, pulling a switch into Thor. That's going to be the Thundurus Incarnate, knowing that I'm going for an Air Slash, which is of course what I do. And yeah, that's going to do a good little chunk. But from there, I am going to be able to outspeed him. Going to be able to go for the Dark Pulse. And as you'll see here, that's going to be enough to take out Thor. So Mandibuzz gets its first kill of the season in the last game, taking out a Thundurus Incarnate. But now in comes the Mega Gyarados, and there really is nothing I can do to this guy. Air Slash is my only move I have that isn't resisted. And you know, Mega Gyarados is super specially bulky. I have to just try and go for damage at this point. I can't live another Rock Switch. Actually, I can live another Rock Switch in, but whether I'm going to be able to get any more opportunities is dubious. So I'm actually just going to go for the Air Slash, gauge the damage I can do to it, and it does, you know, a good sort of 35%, and he goes for Hydro Pump. He is a special Mega Gyarados, completely special Mega Gyarados, and he's going to take out my Mandibuzz, but Mandibuzz has done a really nice job. At this point, I can bring in my Zapdos, and that is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to threaten this guy out. He still doesn't really know my set, because U-turn on Zapdos isn't exactly uncommon. Especially if he's got a threatening ground type like Zygarde in the back. But I am just going to go for the Wild Charge, basically revealing that I am fully physically offensive from this. He's going to know that I don't have Heat Wave. So Zapdos takes quite a lot of recoil damage, and I'm like, I don't really want to stay in here. So I'm going to switch on out of there and go into my Tangler, expecting like a Leech Seed or something, and hoping that he's going to go for Hazards. He actually goes for the knockoff, and this does quite a lot, and he knocks off my specs. I'm like, okay, maybe he just wants to stay in here, but as it is, he's actually going to make the very offensive switch, go out into his Infernape knowing that the Hidden Power Fire is coming his way. I'm not quite real enough to hit the Sludge Bomb, but the Hidden Power Fire still does like a little bit. It's a crit, so which kind of helps. At this point, he's going to set up a Swords Dance. I'm like, oh dear, this is sort of more of a slightly normal Infernape, albeit a very scary one. I'm just going for Sludge Bomb because I didn't want him to set up for 3. And I get some really nice damage, and I am going to score the poison, which is nice as well. I am going to have to sack things to this Infernape. I'm very well aware of it. Well, when I say things, I mean thing singular. And that is going to be the old the Tangler. He's going for Flame Charge, so he Swords Dance Flame Charge. And I'm like, this is really spooky. If he's got Mach Punch, I lose. But I'm pretty much assuming he doesn't have Mach Punch. He's probably got Flare Blitz and or Close Combat / Fire Punch and coverage maybe. I'm assuming he doesn't have priority, so I'm going to go into the threat, the Zangoose. It's time. I have to go for a quick attack here. Just in case he wants to stay in and predict me not to. But and we're getting a little bit of freeze frame there, as happens sometimes. But in comes Winston. That's going to be the Granbull. He is going to get the Intimidate off on me, and because my Toxic Orb isn't activated, this quick attack really isn't going to do all that much. Like, it's a nice little chunk. And after, he's going to get leftovers, just get back into the green, and I'm going to get my Toxic Orb. Now, at -1 with a Toxic Orb, it's dubious as to whether I can take out the Granbull, but I think I'm going to go for it anyway. Just go for the Facade and see what I can do. And that's what I do. Go for the Facade. And this does, and again, a nice chunk. He's going to get Iron Barb's damage and Toxic damage, and I can see what he's doing here. He's using Zangoose's worst enemy being itself to his advantage and just letting me take myself out. But I am getting damage where I can. Now, gonna switch on out of there and go into my Araquanid to try and sort of set this in motion where I can trap this dear Nigel in, but he's going to pull a switch of his own and try and sort of intimidate juggle me and scouting for the Fire Punch on my Zangoose by going into his Granbull. Now, this is fine for me. I'm okay staying in here and just trying to trap in this Granbull if at all possible. So, you know, leftovers are going to happen, that's fine. Clearly, you know, I outspeed him. He is going to, though, switch out here, and he's literally just going to go sort of into his Mew. Which I thought was actually quite nice, because I've gone for Infestation. This is really good. If I can trap this thing in, and then maybe sub, maybe get a Toxic going. I think I actually go for Toxic first. If I can get that in motion, then I can keep this Mew in here, and basically just sort of very slowly kill it and wear it down. Now, Infestation is going to happen, a lot of after turn things going on here, effects. As you'll see, my plan's not going to quite work out because he is packing the Volt Switch. Now, not only is he going to get out of there, he's actually going to do a decent little chunk of damage, sort of 40 to 50 points of health, and he's going to go into Ferrothorn, which is nice. I actually went for the Toxic here, which isn't going to quite work out for me, but I'm like, okay, I can go for a sub on this guy. And then I can soak him, and I can Infestation him, and I can Toxic him, and we can get this going. So I go for sub. He is going to stay in, and as you'll see, he's going to go for the Power Whip. And it's as he goes for the Power Whip, and very obviously breaks the sub on my fully physically defensive Araquanid, I'm like, you are Choice Banded, aren't you? Yes, you are. You're very much Choice Banded. So this is a bit of a worry. I love Choice Banded, Ferro, and Fortress, similar kind of thing. I go for Infestation here. Probably, in hindsight, should have gone for the Soak, because, you know, I'm going to get Iron Barb's damage from the Infestation. Side note, didn't know that happened until now. But he's banded, and this power is going to kill me. If I'd have gone for Soak, I wouldn't have taken the extra damage, and I've got rid of his Stab. You never know, I might have been able to take it and go for the Toxic, but it's dubious. Anyway, right now I'm going to bring in Sadie the Morwhile, and I'm so very well aware that, like, the Fire move has been telegraphed to shit on this turn. But I am just going to go for it anyway. I know the Gyarados is coming in. There's not really a lot I can do about it at this point. So yeah, Gyarados comes in. I'm going to go for the Fire Blast. I am going to miss the Fire Blast because, you know, that seems normal for what I can do. He's actually packing Fire Blast of his own, which I knew was coming, but I didn't really have a switch into Special Gyarados, ironically enough. I am going to live the hit. Go Flash Cannon. Everything I have is resisted by this guy, so this is my strongest move. And it does, you know, a solid little chunk. It actually does enough to the point where he's not going to consider it worth saving. So while he can go for the Dark Bolts and take out Morwell, very unfortunate for Morwell to go down in that way. What it means is he's at a low enough amount of health to the point where I can bring in Zangoose and guarantee that he's going to stay in, because there's no point saving his Gyarados at this point. And that's exactly how things are going to play out. I'm going to go for the Facade, and that is going to deal with the Gyarados. So down it goes. That's another kill. I think it's the first kill actually in this game for for my boy Goose Bolton. So that's very nice. Now in comes Winston. Winston the Gramble is going to come in here and get the Intimidate, but I'm still Toxic boosted. And again, I don't quite have the stones to go for the Focus Punch. I wanted to go for the Focus Punch, predicting Nigel the Pharaoh to come in. But at this point, whether I could have taken him out is sort of debatable. The Facade does a good amount of damage. He's very much at the range where a Fire Punch is going to take him out. Unfortunately, you know, with the residual, it's looking like Zangoose might go down as well. But I am going to go for that Fire Punch, nail this Ferrothorn with that, take the Iron Barbs, but Ferrothorn is going to go down, that's the second kill for Zangoose this game. But unfortunately, the residual damage that Zangoose has taken is a little bit too much, and Zangoose is going to go down himself. But that's fine, Zangoose has done a really nice job, and now all I have is Zapdos, and I was just like, please, go into the Granbull. You know I'm physically offensive. Go into Granbull. He doesn't go into the Granbull, so I'm like, damn it, I'm not going to be able to go for my Z Steel Wing. He's clearly going to outspeed me, and just to add insult to injury, he has his own Z move, and as you'll see, it's going to be exactly what my Zapdos used once before. It's going to be the Continental Crush. There it is, coming off the back of Stone Edge. It's just ow. You know, Zapdos is at very low health. It's not going to take this hit. Spoiler alert. So yes, Zapdos unfortunately is going to go down here. Down he goes to the very powerful Inflate, and that is going to be the game. So yes, we do take a 3-0 loss to Erik with the sort of last game of the season, the meme game. I was happy that we were able to have fun with it. You know, I know that Erik had been a little bit disillusioned with competitive mons towards the middle of the season. I've sort of gotten a bit over my head with the amount of leagues I'm actually taking part in right now. So it was nice to be able to have this battle that really didn't have too many ramifications. You know, Erik takes the win, he still gets into his third place position, that's great for him. I'm now down towards the bottom of the table. I think I'm 11th, which is not last, which is fine. So yeah, there were no real sort of ramifications to this game. There were no consequences for me, certainly. And, you know, Erik and I were both able to have fun with it, which is really nice to be able to do. So yes, that's going to be the end of this game, and indeed the end of the season. PSG going to finish up with 3-8. Not a great result, again, as usual it would seem. Not a fantastic result for us. There are some bright points to be taken out of this. You know, the performance of Morwell was fantastic, finishing up I think 8-5. Zangoose coming in with 7 kills as well. Both of those guys going to be rising in price from the 4 million I got them for each. Those are pretty much the only positives, other than Dragonair going 1-0. There's that too. Zapdos had a solid enough season, going 7-7. I actually look back at this. Zapdos season 1, 5-5. Thunderous Incarnate season 2, 6-6. Zapdos this season, 7-7. So my Electric Flying Legends can only go neutral. There is only the in-between. There is no higher or lower. So that's not bad. You know, the rest of the team basically didn't do very well. It seems I'm never quite going to hit the heights of the draft that I got in Season 2, but we're still going to keep trying. But yeah, that is... Well, I said it's the end of the season. It's not quite the end of the season. You see, I have some very unfinished business, which I am ready to get out in the open. If you've been following the season, you may know what I'm alluding to. But it is about time that someone was held accountable for their actions. So I'll say no more than that, but do keep an eye out for a follow-up video. There's going to be a little bit of a call-out going on, and you're not going to want to miss it. But as for the regular season, that is done and dusted. We can focus on some of the side seasons we've got going on, a few more side projects that are happening, and you know, just try and get ourselves psyched up for the next season of the PPL. We don't know when that's going to be happening. Sometime far in the future, probably. We don't know if we're going to have one before Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon or not, but that's a story for future. As ever, ladies and gentlemen, thank you ever so much for watching not only this video, but for following the, I was going to say, fortunes of PSG through this season. There haven't really been much fortune to it. But thanks for sticking with us, I think is probably the way we're going to go. We will be back, and hopefully better than ever next season, so keep your eyes out for that and various other league content on the channel. But I'm going to get out of here. Before I do that, a very important thing that I forgot to say, I think, at the beginning of the video, but please, go into the description. You will find links to my man Erik. Do make sure you check him out. If you take nothing else from this video, make sure you check out Erik's channel. He is just a great friend of mine. He is even more of a league veteran than I am. His content is fantastic. It is always of a very high standard, along with his battling ability. So absolutely make sure you go and check out Erik, Ashton Akai. You couldn't go and check out a nicer person, so do it. Do that thing when this video is finished. But yes, speaking of that, this video is about to finish. So, as I say, my final thank you to you all for watching. I do hope that you enjoyed. And I guess with that, I will see you next time. Laters.